Welcome back to the Playdate. Today, we have the incredible Susanna Castro with us. My name is Frances Fishman, and Susanna Castro is our office manager administrator. She's my brain. She's the brain of the Playbase, and I am so incredibly grateful to have you here, Susanna. Welcome to the Playdate with the Playbase.
Thank you for having me here today.
So today is your first podcast.
Correct.
And I want you to start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So I am originally from Venezuela and moved here to the United States in 2014. I've been working on the ABA side since 2015, going back and forward. For sure, we're going to talk about this story. But I've been living here so happy. I love United States and I love how you can express your neurodiverse here. And that's what I'm so glad.
That's really beautiful. We'll actually get into that a little bit later, a little bit about you being neurodiverse and what that means to you. But I want to talk about your role at the Playbase and how you came to be. I am a firm believer that everything happens divinely, exactly as it should. And I know you are too. And actually, I think beyond our ABA, it was our spiritual connection that really, when we had our first conversation, we were like, oh,
Totally.
yes, she's my people.
I always say that you and me, we speak the same language.
Yes.
Well, I am the office manager. So I always make the joke that if you need a clip, if you need materials, just come to me. But I feel like the most important role that I do here in my team is to support the parents. I feel that when you have a diagnosis, your world crumbles and you don't even know where to start. It's so overwhelming. I know this because my son was 33 weeks premature. And after 2 years, he was diagnosed with with cerebral palsy. Then when he grew up, he got ADHD and emotional dysregulation. But I feel that when you are pregnant, you have all these dreams about your son or your daughter. If he's a girl, she's going to be a ballerina, and he's a boy, he's going to do baseball like his dad and all the things. And then your world crumbles like in a second when you get a diagnosis. So the first thing when you call the Playbase is me who takes the call, because I feel that I can feel you, that I can give you those 30 minutes. And I know I am like, hey, if you want an intake call, it's going to take time. It's not like, hey, I want to know about the services. No, let's schedule. And this is why. Because I really want to understand what are your needs, if we're the right fit for you, and to give you that space to kind of throw at me what you're feeling at that moment and guide you. I have sometimes called that they don't even can work with us because we're not credentialing with their insurance. I still take the call and I allow the parent to have that space. And I feel that's the most important piece that we do here at the Playbase.
I think that's beautiful because my entire career, I've found parents who didn't know where to go, didn't know how to help their child. And someone somewhere recommended either the Playbase or my name, or they found our phone number and contacted us. And sometimes they know exactly what they want and exactly what they don't want. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we get that phone call. I know exactly what I do not want. Exactly. So what do you offer? Because of the way in which we implement ABA. But sometimes we get a phone call, like you're saying, and it's a family or a parent or a caregiver. Sometimes it's, I adopted a child and I don't know what to do.
Yes.
And they don't know where to start. And it's a beautiful thing that you hold space. I think Oprah Winfrey once said that people just want to feel heard. Like people really just want to feel heard and understood, and holding space for people just allows them to be without judgment.
Yes. There's Christine Northup. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She said in one of her books that you need someone to hear you so you can heal. So I feel that creating that space, it just help a little bit that human soul to release a little bit of this burden that us as parents are going to be walking with our kiddos, and then they're going to be grown-ups, and this is something that is not going to be gone away. This is not something, and this is something that we have talked about. This is not doesn't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
We need the world to understand that there is neurodiverse, and we feel and we see the world different, and that's it. I don't want to be fixed. I just want to find places that I can express myself and being seen as I am.
And be loved and accepted just as you are.
Correct. So I think that that's something that when we met each other the first time, we were like, oh my gosh, I love you. Let's work together. Let's go crazy. And when I'm, we're hiring and bringing people, we call it our tribe. I want people to feel the same passion that we feel and to support our kiddos from this point of view that we're going to talk about more for sure, because I know we're going to get there. But they have to have this different way to see the world so they can understand them.
I agree. So going into what you do at the Playbase. So you answer the phone. You are everyone's main point of contact from our RBTs, BCBAs, parents. You are the main line. And you do all of our hiring. Well, we do it together, but you do the majority of it. And so when we get feedback from families or from analysts or from staff, like teachers, they're saying how incredible they are. It's a nice, beautiful pat on your back, because I always tell everyone we're very particular at the Playbase. We offer a unique service, so we can't hire just anyone.
Correct.
We need people who are aligned with our mission, energetically are aligned, people who speak our language, and people whose passion and whose energy is in the same trajectory as ours. And that's not always easy to figure out in an interview. So I'm curious if you have anything specific that comes up for you during an interview when you meet somebody. Is it a gut feeling? Is it, sometimes someone will say something and I'll be like, or sometimes it's just their energy is so electric and I can feel it and I'm with them and I'm like, yes, this is like who I want to bring in. And equally, I know that when we're hiring, we always have particular people in mind. We have our clients, we have the school, we have where we're placing this person. Do we feel like this would be a good match? So if anything comes up for you from what I'm saying that you want to share, because it's a really that's a job in and of itself.
Yes.
Not just answer, like an intake coordinator does the intake. A hiring and HR does the hiring. The person organizing all the back end things does that. And you're doing all of it.
Yes.
You have support.
Yes.
But you do.
Yeah, of course.
You have an incredible load that you carry at the Playbase. So just wondering if within that role, because I think it's an incredibly important role. And actually, when I was on the podcast with Meyer and Ronan on their Money Matrix podcast, Meyer asked me about building my team because it is such an important part. Like, I am not the Playbase. We are the Playbase.
Correct. So I try to find people that I can see something. So I think it's a mix of what you just mentioned, but there's a God inside of me. And when I'm doing the questions, that I can find people that I can believe they understand your core values. Because for me, the Playbase is your soul. And it's just you representing here on earth something. But it's your essence. So I need to find people that can be aligned with your essence. And because I know you, because we've been working now for 2 years side by side, going downs and lows. And I try to find people that I can feel that spark on them. And if it's not light up yet, I know we're going to light it up.
Yeah. I've seen that too. People who you're like, oh, I feel like this is the great place for you to grow. This is, either they choose it or we support them in understanding a new way. And most of the time in our interviews, I'm assuming you experience the same thing, that when I go over our approach, the response is like, oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Our approach. Yummy.
Yummy. I love that.
It's so delicious.
I have never described our approach as yummy and delicious. I love that.
It's beautiful. You have to feel it. You have to come with us and so you can feel it.
So the way that I met you actually was that you came in as an RBT that we acquired. And I was told, you need to meet her. You really need to meet her. And so I was going to try to convince you to be our RBT.
No, because I was divorced from ABA. I was just doing a favor at that moment.
Yes. And your answer was a flat out, no, absolutely not. There's no way. But I really love being in an administrative position. And because I fell in love with you, fell in love with your energy. And it's, in life, you'll meet a friend and you'll be like, wow, I feel like I've known you my whole life. Or perhaps we've known each other for lifetimes. And there was very much that feeling of, oh, I feel that. There's a deep connection there. It's not somebody in passing. There's something very meaningful there. And you were like, I do not want to be an RBT. You cannot make me be one. And I actually am so incredibly grateful because you hold down the fort in such a powerful way. I know that when I'm incapable of something, I know that you are.
Thank you.
And that I can always lean on you. And I think to find a partner like that in life, somebody that, whether they're a friend or somebody you work with or a spouse or anyone that you can really count on, I think it's so rare and so meaningful. So I'm really grateful for you. You know how grateful, I'm not going to cry. You know how grateful I am for you.
Thank you.
So moving on from your role at the Playbase, because you do so many things. I could go on forever, but I want to talk a little bit about why you got divorced with ABA. Like, why was there like a big separation? I'm not doing this anymore. Tell me a little bit.
I feel like when I started in the ABA field, it was in 2015, and things were a little bit more freely, let's say, in that sense. And then a lot of fraud came, and insurance, started being like on top of the companies, and things starting to change of the way that you were doing ABA. So it was more on going in the line and not taking care of the child. So I was trained, for example, that I need to pair with my kid for weeks if it's needed before I start the program. And then everything changed, and you had to push goals. You had to push the goals. You had to take data every single day and this and that. And I was like, wait. When do I have the time to meet my client? When do I have the time to go to a park and enjoy my client and he enjoys me? I'm just becoming a police officer of maladaptive behaviors.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, I'm done. I'm not going to be sitting down in a school and you only want me to jump in when the kid's behaving. No, I want to be when he's striving also. I want to be with him when he's having fun, not on the corner, just waiting for me to jump in. So I decided that I didn't want to do this anymore and start going back into my background, but I'm very good at it. That is admin. And then, like you said, I was called to do kind of a favor of a girl that she was going to be kicked out. And that breaks my heart. That really breaks my heart. Like, you cannot kick out a child, please. It's the baby. And I was like, yes, I will jump in. I'll do it. And that's when I met you. And I was like, no, I don't want to know anything about ABA. And you were like, but I'm different. And there was something when we started talking about trauma.
Yeah.
That was when I'm like, oh, yes, she's different. Let me try. And I started as a half time, and then you offered me the full time. And I'm like, oh, yes, let's go. Because when you can talk trauma, I'm there. Invite me to that party.
Let's go through all the trauma parties.
Yay.
So one of the things that is unique about our approach is that it's trauma informed. And one of the unique things about you is that your skill set doesn't fall just in admin and doesn't fall just in ABA. There's so much more to Susanna Castro. Can you tell us a little bit about what else you are so specialized in?
Yes, of course. So I'm a yoga teacher. So let's start with, I truly believe that our bodies needs to be present in whatever therapy or thing that we're doing. So I'm gonna be somatic all the way. Also, I have ADHD, and like I was mentioning, my son got diagnosed with ADHD and emotional dysregulation disorder. And when I read about it, I'm like, oh, wait, I have that. My dad has that. Oh, I think there's something that I need to look here. So for me, a diagnosis is not something horrible. It's like a door for you as the parent to look at yourself. Your son or your daughter is not a consequence of destiny. Oh, this happened. They had this diagnosis. There's something in there for you to learn to. There's something that maybe you need to look at your family dynamics. There's something that maybe you need to look at the heritage, because we do not only, like I was reading the other day, we do not only pass DNA, we also give them whatever else happened in our story and our family story. Yes. So in my case, the hyperactivity, we're here in this podcast and I want to interrupt you so many times. Like, oh my God, ADHD just coming out. So for me to grow up in a neurodiverse space in a time that nobody understood me, it was horrible. So my behaviors were worse till I understood that everything was tied to my nervous system. And if I can bring my nervous system to a safe space, I won't have to run or attack no one, because my response is always attack, 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 go, run and attack. So
fight and flight.
Yes, that was me all the way. So for me to find that understanding through my son, it was through him when he got the diagnosis, because I tried so many different things. And AVA by itself, it wasn't working. So I was like, I need something else. And then understanding emotional dysregulation, it was the key for me to support my son and even support myself. I'm still working on it, but if you can embrace this, it's like a gift, but you need to embrace it. And as a parent, you need to give the space for your son or daughter to be seen, to be understood, and not try to be fixed.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. I actually don't think that I knew that you studied the nervous system because of that. I don't think I knew that before.
Wow. You're just learning something beautiful today. I cannot remember when Sergio got that diagnosis. Oh my gosh, I say his name. Don't kill me, please, baby. He's a teenager now, and our relationship is beautiful. But when a parent called me, I sometimes laugh, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to feel that I'm being disrespectful. I'm laughing because I feel the parent when they're like, oh my gosh, my son is doing this tantrum and he's throwing the chairs and he's biting the other kids. And I'm like, I got you. Check, check, check. I got all of them. So I can understand as a parent how horrible, because you want to go to the mall. You cannot go. You cannot. He's going to have a tantrum. He can cry for 2 hours. Or I want to go to Frances. She invited me to her place, and then my son is going to go there to destroy the whole house. I understand that. I really understand. And sometimes I know if you get the right tools, you're going to be able to walk out of that space of fear.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at the end you have fear
prepared.
and a lot of shame.
Yeah.
As a mom, we hold so much shame. We don't need to hold the shame. This is who we are. This is the family that we are. And I hope again that the world can change and understand that if a child is having a tantrum, it's okay.
Yeah. I agree.
It's okay.
I totally agree with you. And I think that I think it's a beautiful thing that your empathy and your compassion are not just being able to understand somebody's experience, but that you've walked a mile in, I mean, not their exact shoes, but in similar shoes. So when they're sharing their story, you can actually place yourself in that exact position through a different lens, through your own lens,
Yes.
but in that exact position. And I think you touched on something incredibly meaningful as you were speaking. As a parent, whether your child has a diagnosis or not, as a human, what we experience with other people is a reflection of something for us always. So life will throw its curveballs. Sometimes it'll slam us into a brick wall. And there's always something in it for us if we choose to see it that way.
Correct. Yes.
And I think that the way that you explain that is if your child receives a diagnosis or is struggling in some way, there's nothing harder for a parent than to watch your child struggle and not be able to fix it for them or make it go away. And we've had this conversation as moms in the past. When our children struggle, it's hard, but our job is to equip them with the tools they need to face their struggle.
Correct.
Because to do it for them is to rob them of an opportunity to grow. And they will struggle in life. All of us.
You just said something beautiful, because I know when your child is having a tantrum, it's horrible, but you just said something beautiful. If you give them the tool, but allow them to use them, don't try to cut whatever is this behavior showing. So I will always think that as a parent, the more important thing is for you to empower yourself. And I like, for example, to tell my parents that we do not do parent training, because you're a parent. I don't need training.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to empower you. And that's different. We do parent coaching.
Yeah.
Because you're the parent, you know your child, but I'm going to give you the tools on how to navigate this to allow your son to get out of that state and teach them the tools and the skills that then they can use without us.
Yeah. We actually just did a training for our analysts and our student analysts and our BCABAs. And we spoke about that, about how when we're doing any of our work, and we know this when we're working directly with a child, our job is to be out of a job. Our job is to work ourselves out of a job. Okay. The same goes for when we're working with parents, when we're consulting at schools. No matter where we are, the point is to equip the people with the tools that they need based on where they are, their own culture, their own viewpoint. It's about equipping them with what they need, not what I think they need, but what they feel they need and any additional things I can provide. And it's all about giving them the tools and then stepping back and watching them fly.
Correct. Yes. And one thing that is important is we have to also look at for how long my child is being misunderstood and this become chronic. So for how long my child, maybe the school didn't understand him, I didn't understand him. It's not start to point it out who did it wrong. It's understand that this become chronic.
Yeah.
He's not being understood. So that's one thing then the sensory overload. It's I still get sensory overload, and
We all do.
I am 47 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, and but I'm now aware of my nervous system and see when he's starting to go to sympathetic. That I hear one teacher on the trainings that I did, like, is not so sympathetic, and it's true. But when my body is starting to building up to this state, now I can try to bring my tools, my guns, and that's what I want to give these kids. This is when I receive a parent call. I want to assure them that we're gonna get there. I don't know how long it will take. Maybe 1 month, maybe a year, maybe more than years. I don't know, but give us the opportunity to teach these skills. But at the same time, we need to look at the environment, because if the environment doesn't honor their needs, this is not going to be able for us to do it. And I always tell my employees when I'm interviewing and everything, I always repeat the same thing. We have to see not just a program goals. We need to see the whole picture of this child. Where is he? What's happening in the room? What's happening? Is the whole class dysregulated? We have talked about this so many times.
Yep.
You are pretending that my kid, right, my client, is to be regulated when the whole class is not. It's not fair for my child. It's not fair for my client, because it's so easy to point it out to the one that has the diagnosis. But what happened with the rest?
Or the one who will have the largest behavior because of the way sensory processing happens, or the way dysregulation expresses itself, or how dysregulated that child already started. And now that there's so much dysregulation, now they can't handle it anymore. So much bigger behavior might occur. Yeah.
And I love when you always talk about the teaching moments. When you use that word, I was like, oh, yes, I'll take that word with me. Because there's no way that I can teach anything to a child that is on these responses. If he wants to fight, he wants to fly, oh, he's going to be just froze.
Yeah.
He's just going to be rocking in a corner. That's not a safe space. So for me, as the person that is touching the life of that child, I need first to look at my own nervous system. Yep. If I am the mom and I have a child with emotional dysregulation disorder, and I'm going to use myself as an example again, and I want to try to calm my child, but I am in the same place that he is, and I'm screaming and all going loca, crazy. What am I doing? So I need to first look at myself. If I am the teacher, if I am the parent, if I am the RBT, I need to understand that they regulate their nervous system by mine. Because they're
co-regulation.
Kids. Yes.
Yeah, co-regulation. That's right.
Yes. So it's just like, again, I know it's hard, but it's just like you. And then that points at you, and the other 3 fingers point at me. So I have to do the word too. Oh, I know it's so annoying, but we have to do it.
Oh my God, I love that. I don't think I've ever used that expression before. One finger points at you, but 3 point back at me. Yes. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Since we're touching on it, and I know that you've had lots of training, can you give a little brief, not 30-minute training, but a brief little description, not so little, but a brief description of the nervous system, how it works, and how it impacts behavior? So this is something that when I shared it with you, I think in our first conversation, we were both like, oh, we really get each other.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I think it was me.
That's okay.
Oopsie, sorry.
So when we had our first conversation and we spoke about the nervous system and how for the first years of my career, I would say the first probably more than 10 years of my career, I did not know anything about the nervous system. I actually learned more about it when I trained in a mindfulness program. And then I did research. Then I realized this applies to every human on the planet, for all behavior that anyone ever does, and for the science that actually focuses on shaping and changing behavior, to ignore this crucial part is mind-blowing. So can you tell us a little bit about, for anyone who hasn't had training, or maybe they've heard about it, but they don't know, or maybe somebody who's like, I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
You know that I love trends when trends are going to be something amazing. For example, I'm a yoga teacher for so long, and I love now how yoga is a trend. Oof, love it. And I think nervous system is the same. Yeah. I feel like at a certain point, there's not going to be an approach that is not going to take this in consideration. Better not be. And I remember one of the trainings that I was doing, the teacher is from Australia. She's a physical therapist, and she was explaining how neuroception has changed in 10 years. Like whatever you learn, if you're a PT and you learn 10 years ago, it's completely outdated. Mm-hmm. So I will start with neuroception, and I'm going to do a class here, of course. And if you want to go and learn more, they're amazing trainers and teachers, and I will encourage you to go. But I like to imagine neuroception like a octopus with the
tentacles.
Yes. And how they communicate, you know, how amazing they are with that. It's the same is with our neuroception. It's the one that catches, right? Like, this is an alarm here. This is a safe space or not. So let's start with that. Our kiddos have these beautiful tentacles that they can feel us. You cannot lie to a child, and you cannot lie to a neurodiverse child at all. Even if you want to try to say, oh, I am so calm. No, you're not. And they can feel it. So let's start there. And then I'm not going to go so in depth there, but there's trauma. And I know we get so much scared with the word trauma. It's like cerebral palsy. Remember when I got that word, right? Like you're so scared. So if I said trauma, you're like, ugh. But trauma can be that the first trauma is the birth. Who knows what happened during the pregnancy? All the things that the child is already receiving cortisol, all the things that I'm not going to go there. But okay, we have trauma, first thing. So I learned to cope with maladaptive behaviors. We all had them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use again myself as an example. I started smoking when I was in 6th grade, smoking cigarettes. So every time that I have a trigger, I want to go and get a cigarette. Yeah. Okay. So when my world crumbles, I get a package of cigarettes. That's the way that I learn how to cope. So same for our kiddos, right? They learn how to cope with these maladaptive behaviors. That's the way that they feel safe. And if I feel safe, you know, putting my cars in line, that I always use that example, that's how I have my control. That's how my nervous system feels safe. And when you take that car from the line, I got a sensory overload. All my nervous system feels attacked. And when my nervous system feels attacked, again, this is not something that I am processing. They're
not aware.
Yes, yeah. Of course. You can help me talk more about the brain, because I think that's what we are so good at each other, because you talk more brain, I talk more nervous system. But it's just like my nervous system is going to go into fight-flight mode, if that's mine, or to freeze or fawn. Yep. Those are the 4 strategies that I learned, unfortunately, because we want to go into a safe and social space. And to get into that safe space, where it's called rest and digest, ventral vagal, those are like the names. But imagine a space where I can actually hear you. When I am in the other responses of my nervous system, when you look at the polyvagal theory, even your ears close, I cannot hear you. My pupils dilate. Like, it's insane, all the things that are happening in my body. And I want to teach you a new skill when you're in. Come on.
So it's so yes. True. We always, one of the things that we talk about, and you touched on this, is heightened states are not teachable moments. That's my line. Heightened states are not teachable moments. And the reason is that when you are in a stress response, when your automatic nervous system is going off, you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your brain is actually not communicating with itself. Like the whole brain itself is not communicating. Normally, your executive functioning would be communicating with your amygdala and with your hippocampus. All of the parts communicate. But when you are having the stress response, your auditory processing goes down. So one of the first things we say is minimize language. Your pupils dilate, like you said, so you can use a visual, but a simple one, like a gesture. And what's really happening is that you're scanning for safety. So I use the example when we train, or anytime I train on this, is if I'm sitting here and I hear the growl of a bear, that stimulus of that sound enters my brain, and my brain picks up that there's danger. So my brain, my amygdala, decides to shut everything down, and now I need to go into save my life mode.
Correct.
However, my brain can do that when there's no bear and no real danger. And that's the confusing part for certain people when they see this response, but there's no bear.
Correct.
And so one of the main things that we need to think about as parents, as therapists, as humans walking the earth, is that how I start my day or how I feel in this moment doesn't necessarily show in the way my face presents. For some people, it does. For some people, you can really tell how they're feeling. Other people mask very well.
Yes.
So you might not know that my baseline is already dysregulated. And the way that I talk about it with teachers is before I walked in to this podcast, I had a beautiful breakfast. I sat down. I had my coffee. I drove. I listened to my favorite podcast. I got here early. I set up, and here I am in my best state. And my best state may be baseline regulated, and my best state may not be, depending on my body and my neurology and all that. Or I woke up to the sound of a screaming child. They ran to the bathroom and threw up. And if you know me, vomit is like, ooh, that's my Achilles heel. That's, ooh. Ugh. But as a mom, you can't be like, sorry.
Yes.
You're on your own.
Yes.
And then I had to leave because I was going to be here. And my child cried and begged me not to go. And I felt like a terrible mom that I had to leave them with my husband or whoever I might be leaving them with. And as I was driving, I hit traffic, and then someone slammed on their brakes in front of me and honked their horn at me. And then I got here and I was running late and the elevator wasn't working. So I had to run up the stairs, and then I forgot something in my car. And then I came back and you were like, oh my God, I've been waiting for you. And I'm sitting down, and what's my nervous system like now? Right. And I still might show up and smile at you. Very sweaty. Probably very sweaty in that scenario. But I still might show up and smile at you, and you may not have any idea. And then you say something to me, a trigger to me that you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then my nervous system responds. And if I'm Susanna, watch out.
Yes.
And if I'm Francis, here comes the freeze. Here comes the fawn. And I'm not myself anymore. And you're going to speak to me, and I'm not going to process it all. And I'm going to respond in a way verbally with a lot less language because I don't have access. So I won't know how to respond. And that's just me. Every single human walking this planet goes through their ebbs and flows in their nervous system, and nobody, maybe unless you're a monk, nobody walks around regulated, especially I don't think anyone in North America walks around regulated. Like we are just infiltrated with stimulus and and fear mongering and like all the things all the time. And there's stress and you need to make money and you need to like all those things.
Yes.
So we're literally not waking up like, oh, what a beautiful day. Like that's not how most of us start our day unless we are working at it.
Yes. It's a decision that you have to make every single day before you want to face something. I want to add something that it's not that I'm going to be zen and my nervous system is going to be always in the safe, because before we jump in and you open the door, our nervous system needed to rise up and go to sympathetic.
Yep.
Because we needed to raise our voice and be ready and right?
Yeah, and perform.
Yeah. Yes. So we needed that. We need to understand is how we can come back to the safe. So when we're done with this, we can go back to safe.
Yes. And we have very functional and we have very dysfunctional ways that we all learn. Every single one of us has our ways that we have acquired through growing up. We learn, oh, this makes, and you're not conscious of it. You're not like, oh, I need it. Some people are, oh, I need a drink. But, you know, I would sit in lectures and play with my hair as a way of regulating myself. Yes. I would play with my pens. I would doodle. Those are things that I only learned as I learned what it was that I was doing.
Correct.
What that was. But I'm not conscious of it.
Of course.
And so many of our choices are not conscious. We're not aware that this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so what this science and this information does is it brings awareness. And when you have awareness of what someone else is doing, it allows you, hopefully, the opportunity to create awareness around what you are doing. Yeah. And what I always say, and I think you agree, having worked in this field and worked in the field of helping people in general, is that we learn, we grow, and we heal in the process.
Yes.
And I often say we do more of that than we even give. I feel like being in this field has healed parts of me I didn't even know needed healing, has taught me things I would have never learned, has shaped me as a human, as a mother for sure, as a soul in a really beautiful way. And I think having heard you teach about the nervous system taught me so much more than I ever understood about it. So when we train our staff on understanding the nervous system, it's Susanna who takes over the training because this is your jam.
I love it.
And I love when you talk about it.
And I love it because of the way that you're saying it. Is because it started with me first, then support my son, and then support my clients because I'm a coach, and it's in Spanish, of course, because I'm Latina. But I love when I can walk with my clients and walk them and to understand that what is the inner wounded child is the nervous system that got stuck in that response. That when he gets the trigger that you're mentioning, he just go into that mode and is unconscious. So you have to start being an observer of yourself so you can actually move from there. So when we're training, I know this is not something that you're going to digest in one day, but we're always, working again with RBTs, inviting them again or BCBAs to new training so they can really embody this. And I was writing the other day a message to all my RBTs because when I receive calls sometimes, these are parents that are traumatized with ABA.
Yeah.
And I feel so, how can I say, so proud of my RBTs, so proud of my BCBAs. And I tell the parents, listen, and we really do take care of this. We know that your child is going to be hours with these two persons, so I take care. We do not place someone just to place them because I need people that can speak this language. Maybe I don't expect them to talk the science. I want them to feel the science, experience the science with their own clients so they can spread this to the world.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
That's the beauty of ADHD because you get so passionate.
Yeah. actually, my next question is actually to do with your ADHD. So I'm curious, what has it been like for you as a woman, as a mom,
I'm not gonna cry. Okay.
and as a human to walk this earth with a neurodiverse brain with ADHD?
I'm gonna cry. Let's try to not. Okay. Okay. So it's been horrible. The first, I don't know, 40 years.
Don't give your age. Don't give your age.
Because you were just a mess. And society is just reminding you that you're a mess. So you grow up feeling that you're broken, that something is wrong with you because you cannot see the whole class is behaving except you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible. So let's start by school. I get a lot of verbal abuse from my teachers. I still hear them saying things in front of the kids. And I'm like, oh, no, please. It's just going to be like a tattoo on that child for their entire life.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of verbal abuse from my teachers. Then my parents didn't understand me at all. And I was just thrown to psychologists since I was in 5th grade. No, I'm sorry. I think it was in 4th grade. I cannot remember. And I remember that the psychologist told my parents, she's screaming to take her out of that school. Remember when I was saying the environment? Mm-hmm. And my parents' answer was, no, she's staying in that school. She's not going to rule. I'm the parent. And they didn't change me from that school. So environment was so important. I was in a huge school in Venezuela that goes from pre-K to high school. Each class will have 42 kids in average. 42. Wow. Okay. And sections from A to F. So each grade, 6 classes, 40 kids. It was college.
Wow.
Okay. When I was almost graduating from high school, my parents agree. I was 17 years old. They finally agreed to change me from school. And I went to school that it was just 10 kids in the class.
That's a big shift.
And everything shifted on me from the grades. Let's start there. Mm-hmm. So I stopped failing classes. I started thriving, let's say in that sense. And then I have been using my ADHD I heard one doctor saying it shouldn't be called attention deficit and it should be hyperfocus attention.
Yes.
I'm so good at the computer and Francis can say that. Oh my gosh. If I'm focused on something, I'm so fast. So for me, it took me years for someone to see me. Actually, it was my yoga teacher. And I said to her, can I work with you on the admin side? She had a school and she's like, yeah, sure. And every time she will say, oh my gosh, you're a son with legs. And with the years, I found another human soul that was my boss. That he actually the same. He just showed me safe space as my boss, and then you. So for me, those 3 persons that can actually see you and not see your ADHD, it really empowers you because you stop seeing that I'm a mess. You're seeing my potential instead of what am I missing. So it's been very hard for me to navigate a world that people don't understand. That I'm always the loca. She dressed differently. She does this thing or that. And then you start covering yourself to please society.
Yeah.
And one day you break. And then you lose family. You lose your marriage. You lose work. You lose so many things. Because I have to dynamite bridges to allow myself to show up to the world. It wasn't easy. It wasn't. Trust me. It was very hard when I said to a point that I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to show up as I am. And I hope you can allow your child to show us as they are. Sorry.
I think your story really touched me in such a way because my wish is for every single child and every human to know there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing needs to be fixed. And for them to live a full life in their authenticity. Because the world is it's so easy to see all the things that are wrong with us, with me, for me to see it for myself, and for you to see what's quote unquote wrong with you and what I need to fix and be better at. But it's actually our unique gifts that make this world what it is. And it's, it's the people who really stepped into their authenticity and their power that changed the world. Yeah. Like if you think about Albert Einstein, like if he were to conform to the way everyone else was, the world would be a very different place.
Yes.
All the people who really impacted the world that we study, that we learn about, they had to stay in their power. And their power lives in their authenticity and who they are, not in masking to be what everyone else thinks they should be.
Yes.
And it's like,
it's not easy.
No, it's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
When the world tells you need to be different.
Yes. Yes.
Like I grew up being a chameleon, being who I thought everyone wanted me, needed me to be at all times. And that's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Well, that's a response from your nervous system that is called fawning.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I know I sound so annoying. I'll go, everything is nervous system. I know we have to work other things in therapy, but this is the baseline, like you're saying. Like this is where it all come from on the response. Then you can go with the therapy and go and see why is this not in your unconscious and you need to work. But yeah, sorry, it's funny.
It's true. Before we finish, I wanted to ask one last question. And the question is, can you leave the listeners with either words of wisdom that you have or a question for them to sit with? It's a big one to leave.
Wow. Can I do two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. One is that the diagnosis is just a light on the tunnel. Don't be afraid to take your child to get diagnosed. It might not get anything, but it still needs support because now we're understanding nervous system and dysregulation. But if your child needs support, the diagnosis is just the light on the tunnel. Don't be ashamed. Don't let the shame from society get you. That's the first one. And the second one, that this is how I always end my trainings, is can we imagine a world where our kids doesn't need to do the hard work that we're doing to heal all this craziness?
Yeah. If we can heal our own trauma, they don't need to carry it because we pass it on.
So imagine a world that all the mamas and the papas in the world are taking responsibility and doing the work.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Susanna, I love you. Thank you so much for being our first guest on the Playdate.
Thank you. I hope everybody stays till the end.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.